Have you ever lost everything because of a lie? Imagine being fired, blamed for a crime you didn't commit, and watching every door close in your face. Now imagine that on the very same day, when you barely have enough money to feed yourself, a hungry elderly woman asks for help. Would you still choose kindness? What happened next changed one man's life forever and proved that even the smallest act of compassion can rewrite your future. Sometimes life tests your heart before it rewards your character. This is the story of a single father who had every reason to give up, but chose kindness instead. And the stranger he helped carried a secret powerful enough to change everything. Before we begin, welcome to Heartline Stories. If stories about kindness, hope, and second chances inspire you, please subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps Heartline Stories bring more meaningful stories to people around the world. Daniel Harper was a hard-working single father raising his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, in a small town outside Chicago. Every morning before sunrise, he packed Lily's lunch, walked her to the school bus, and drove to the warehouse where he had worked faithfully for 7 years. His co-workers respected him because he never complained. No matter how difficult life became after his wife passed away, Daniel always kept a smile on his face for Lily. Then one terrible Monday changed everything. A shipment of expensive electronics disappeared from the warehouse. Security footage mysteriously showed Daniel entering the storage room shortly before the items vanished. By lunchtime, management called him into the office. "I didn't take anything," Daniel pleaded. But no one listened. Without a proper investigation, he was fired immediately. His final paycheck barely covered the next week's rent. As Daniel carried a small cardboard box filled with his belongings, he could feel every pair of eyes watching him. The humiliation hurt even more than losing the job. That evening Lily noticed her father sitting silently at the kitchen table. "Dad," she whispered, "everything will be okay." Daniel forced a smile. "I hope you're right, sweetheart." The next day he searched everywhere for work. Every application ended the same way. "We're sorry, but we found another candidate." Bills piled higher. The refrigerator grew emptier. One rainy afternoon, Daniel used his last $20 to buy 2 bowls of hot chicken soup and a loaf of bread from a small neighborhood diner. As he stepped outside carrying the food home for Lily, he noticed an elderly woman sitting alone on a park bench. Her elegant coat was soaked from the rain, and her hands trembled with cold. She looked exhausted. When Daniel walked past, she quietly asked, "Excuse me, could you spare something to eat?" Daniel froze. The food in his hands was all he could afford. He thought about Lily waiting at home. Then he looked into the woman's tired eyes. Without hesitation, he smiled gently. "Please," he said. "Take one of the soups and half the bread." The woman looked surprised. "But this is your dinner." Daniel nodded. "My daughter and I can share what's left. No one should go hungry." Tears filled the woman's eyes. "You've shown me kindness when you have almost nothing." Daniel simply shrugged. "My father used to say that kindness isn't measured by how much you give. It's measured by what you choose to keep." The elderly woman thanked him and quietly watched him walk away through the rain. Daniel never asked her name. He never expected to see her again. 3 days later, Daniel received an unexpected phone call. A woman politely invited him to attend an interview at the headquarters of one of the largest investment companies in the city. Certain it had to be a mistake, Daniel almost declined. But he borrowed a clean suit from a neighbor and went anyway. Inside the elegant office building, he was escorted into a private conference room. When the doors opened, Daniel stopped in shock. The elderly woman from the park stood waiting. Except now she wore a tailored business suit. Around her stood executives, attorneys, and security officers. She smiled warmly. "My name is Eleanor Brooks." Daniel suddenly recognized the name. She was one of the country's wealthiest business leaders. "I never forgot your kindness," Eleanor said. I don't understand," Daniel replied. Eleanor explained that she often traveled without announcing her identity. She believed the best way to understand people was to meet them as strangers. When you shared your last meal with me, she said, I decided to learn who you really were. She had quietly hired private investigators. Within days they uncovered the truth. Daniel had never stolen anything. Another warehouse employee had manipulated the security cameras and framed him before disappearing with the stolen merchandise. The investigators recovered financial records, deleted surveillance files, and witness statements proving Daniel's innocence. Eleanor personally contacted Daniel's former employer. Faced with undeniable evidence, the company president apologized publicly. Daniel's name was cleared completely. The local newspaper published the real story. Friends who had doubted him called to apologize. But Eleanor wasn't finished. She offered Daniel a management position at one of her charitable foundations. We need leaders with honesty, she said. Skills can be taught. Character cannot. Daniel accepted with grateful tears. For the first time in months, hope returned. That evening he picked Lily up from school. Instead of worrying about unpaid bills, they celebrated with pizza and ice cream. Lily smiled brighter than Daniel had seen in years. I knew everything would be okay, she said. Daniel laughed softly. You were right. Months passed. Daniel helped organize food programs, job training, and emergency housing for struggling families. He remembered exactly how hopeless unemployment had felt. Every person who entered his office was treated with dignity because he understood that anyone could be one bad day away from needing help. One afternoon, he noticed a young father sitting outside the foundation with tears in his eyes. Without thinking twice, Daniel walked over, sat beside him, and simply listened. Because someone had once listened to him. Years later, Eleanor spoke at a charity event and shared Daniel's story with hundreds of business leaders. She ended with words that no one forgot. The world changes when ordinary people choose extraordinary kindness, and maybe that's the lesson life keeps trying to teach us. Kindness doesn't always bring immediate rewards. Sometimes it seems unnoticed. Sometimes it even feels impossible. But every act of compassion plants a seed that can grow in ways we never imagine. So the next time someone needs a helping hand, remember Daniel's story. Your smallest act of kindness may become the miracle that changes someone else's life or your own. Thank you for watching Heartline Stories. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes kindness still has the power to change the world. Until next time, take care of yourself, and never stop choosing kindness.